guys. So I figured I would also film like, you know, the hard parts about doing rhinoplasty and all that. And this is my first day having like second thoughts about doing it. But at this point, it's already done. You know, it's too late. I feel like I don't recognize myself. Like, I feel like I miss my old face. And part of it has to do with like my nose. I feel like before, you know, the nose was projected obviously further out because of I had a huge bump from the side. You can't see it anymore, but I had a huge bump from the side, so it kind of made my nose project outwards a little more. And now that it's gone, it's making me feel like my nose is super flat. Like I miss that projection, you know. I don't know if it's because like maybe, you know, I mean, it's been a long time and I'm not used to this new nose or what it is. Obviously, I'm only 8-9 days out of surgery, so there's still a lot of changes to come. But this is just how I'm feeling right now. I'm a little bit overwhelmed, you know. I'm trying to be patient, obviously, and having my husband support helps a lot. He like keeps me sane, but I don't know, it's like really hard to see yourself and not recognize your face. So, but we'll see how it gets, you know. It's only 9 days and I'm not used to it yet. We'll see how I feel about it obviously afterwards, and you guys will see this, and you know, maybe it'll be like all silly and I'll look back and be like, that was a tough time. But you know, for now, that's kind of what I'm feeling at this day in time, in the moment. It's hard, you guys. It's not an easy decision. That's it.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So as you saw from the clip, today we're going to be talking about post-surgery blues, specifically after rhinoplasty. I had rhinoplasty 10 months ago. It'll be a year in November. And I have shared with you guys my entire experience. And if you have not seen those videos, I will link them up here in the suggested video box, that little eye. Click on it and it'll show you all my suggested videos regarding rhinoplasty. The doctor that I went to is Dr. Kosins. I've mentioned him many times and I absolutely love his work, and I found him doing a lot of research. I will list his Instagram and information down below. He is currently in Newport Beach, but I will link his website and everything down below in case that ever changes. So the reason why I had rhinoplasty was because I had a dorsal hump right in the middle of my nose, right here, a bump, and I hated my profile. I also had the tip lifted just a little bit, and then we put a chin implant in there, a tiny chin implant. That was a recommendation from the doctor. And then we also did a little bit of lipo under the chin. So that overall just improved my profile, which is something that really bugged me since I can remember. I think when I was around 13 years old is when really like my face started changing, and you know, everything, just your body starts coming into its own. And that's when my dorsal hump started to develop. When I was younger, like in elementary, I don't recall having a dorsal hump until like around puberty. So ever since then, I've always been super self-conscious about my nose. I was okay with my front view because you couldn't, you know, see the dorsal hump. But when I turned to the side, it was definitely there, and it's something that I was like super insecure about for a very long time. I decided that the best thing for me was to just get rhinoplasty, and I was prepared at the time for the physical pain. I was willing to, you know, go through all that, the discomfort that comes after rhinoplasty. And let me say, like right now, straight up, the pain is like nothing because you're obviously given some pain medication to control it. So the pain is not a big deal. The most uncomfortable part was the pressure from being congested. But overall, like I never experienced any pain that was super intolerable. However, even if there had been pain, I was, you know, ready because I had like mentally prepared myself like, okay, I'm gonna get surgery. They're gonna like shave my bone down, or, you know, whatever it is that they have to do surgically in there. It might hurt. I had just like hyped myself up so much to be prepared for anything. But overall, the physical part was the easiest part. The hardest part, and the part that I wasn't prepared for because I didn't know it was coming, was the emotional part of the journey. And I had never heard of anybody ever, say that they got depressed after having rhinoplasty. Just never. Because all you ever see are videos of people getting their cast removed and they cry because they're so happy. And that's what I expected from this whole experience. I said, okay, it'll be a couple of days of pain, and then when I get my cast off, it's gonna be like a whole new me and I'm gonna be so happy. And that experience just didn't happen for me. And that's just because everybody heals differently at a different pace. Some people get more swelling, some people heal super, super fast. So when they remove their cast, it's, that's what they're gonna see. So when they removed my cast, I was just a little like in shock. I didn't know what to say, and Dr. Kosins was there like, talking to me, giving me instructions, and it was just kind of all like blowing past me because I was just like really scared, like, okay, is this what I'm gonna look like? Because I don't actually like it right now. The profile looked amazing. My nose looked like super sharp, but the front view, I just looked like a chipmunk. My cheeks were like all the way up to my nose. It looked like I had no bridge of my nose. It looked like it had been scooped out with like an ice cream, scooper or a melon baller. Yeah, it was a very scary experience to see my nose for the first time after the cast was removed. And at that moment, Dr. Kosins told me, and I've said this before, he literally said, you won't be able to see the front view until about 3 weeks. Never heard that at all. But I'll play the clip so you guys know that he did say it.
Now in 3 weeks, you'll be able to actually see what the front view looks like.
Right. So even though he even told me right then and there, you guys heard it, 3 weeks, you'll be able to see your front view. I saw the side, perfect, beautiful, sharp. And then I saw the front view and I was just like inside my head like, oh my gosh, what did I do? This looks terrible. I should have never done this. Because my mind is going back to all those videos that you see online of people getting their cast removed and they start crying happy tears, and I was not experiencing that, so I thought something must be wrong.
Hold on. I'm a little in shock right now.
Why?
Huh?
Why are you in shock?
I don't know.
Of course, looking back at it now, I can now 100% say it's just swelling. Don't panic at this point. It will get better. So I went home, after having my cast removal appointment and everything, and I'm freaking out inside, but I said, okay, I still have to tape, so maybe after I remove the tape, it will be fine. So I was supposed to leave the tape on for 3 days, and on the 3rd day, I was able to take it off and then just tape at night. So I waited for 3 days, and at this point, it's 8 days post-op. I take off the tape, and it's still not the result that I want.
Hey guys, so today is Wednesday, and today I was able to wash my face, take off the tape, and take a shower and everything, and even put a little makeup on. I don't have to put on the tape till nighttime. I'm low-key freaking out because obviously my nose looks very, very different.
Because it's hot.
But overall, I mean, the profile looks great. And that's it for today.
I still look completely different. I don't recognize myself, first of all, in the mirror. And I also don't see the swelling. So in my head, I'm thinking, this is what I'm gonna look like for the rest of my life. And at this point, my heart sinks and I fall into literal depression for like the next week and a half. I stopped eating. I didn't want to go out anywhere. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to see my family. I didn't want them to see me. I would take pictures and say, okay, maybe it's the lighting, maybe it's something else. And this is what I looked like at around 8 days. So here's a picture. And as you guys can see, like, my nose looked very weird to me. It looked very flat, like I had no bridge. And then it also looked a little piggy. And I don't know if you guys could see that from that picture. I look at it now and it actually was not as bad as it was in my head, that day. I look at it now and I can see the swelling, but that day, I literally couldn't see it. Like, my mind just didn't perceive that there was any swelling left. I just said, okay, my swelling is all gone. This is what it's gonna look like for the rest of my life. And I was just like freaking myself out basically. So it didn't end up getting better until the swelling finally started coming down, because your swelling is going to go up, 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 and then kind of stall and just stay there until your body is able to heal itself, and then the swelling starts to go down. So I kind of stayed at that peak for a couple of days where there was like no changes, and I was just like freaking out. Monday morning, Judy, who works at Dr. Kosins' office where I got my rhinoplasty done, calls me because I do check in on you like periodically. So she called me and then she asked me like, how are you feeling? And you know, I tell her, oh, I don't know, I have, you know, a couple concerns. I just feel like my nose just doesn't look like what I wanted it to look, and I'm like crying. And then she tells me, can you come into the office today, like in 2 hours? And I'm like, yeah, I can be there in like 2 hours. And I go to the office and then she sees me and she's literally talking to me for 2 hours, telling me the process and, you know, just explaining everything that goes on after surgery. And then she says, don't worry, you're not the first one that has experienced this. You know, everybody heals differently, and not everybody is going to get that wow moment after, you know, you remove the cast. In fact, there's actually very few people that get that moment. Most people have to wait a couple of days for the swelling to go down. So she stayed with me for 2 hours, talking literally. So after I talked to Judy, I realized, okay, so everything that I'm feeling is normal. This happens to other people. I'm not the only one. So therefore, I'm not at the end of my road here. When I got home, my mind finally was able to open up, and I was finally able to see the swelling again. Like, I could finally look in the mirror and see, oh, my nose is still swollen. I could still see it like right here. My nose is still swollen. My nose is swollen. I mean, my jaw is swollen. My chin is swollen. I was finally able to perceive the swelling, which before my mind just blocked it out. So the swelling for me took a while to go down, for me to feel more like myself. And I wasn't still totally there. I was still quite swollen. That was like around 3.5 weeks or so. That's when I kind of looked at myself in the mirror and saw myself again. Like, oh, I do recognize my face. I still look the same, but just like a better version of myself. So that took about 3.5 weeks, but I still had uneven swelling. One side of my nose was a lot more swollen than the other. And for all that to even out, it was a lot closer to 4 months for my swelling to go down. My advice, having experienced post-surgery blues, is to really, you have to fight your mind. Okay, be strong, because your mind is going to tell you things that are not actually true. Like, for example, it literally blocks out all the swelling. Realize that there's going to be swelling for several months, not just days or weeks. It's going to be months. It's going to take a while to feel like yourself, and you definitely have to wait at least a month before you start like recognizing yourself and feeling comfortable with the new look. Also, perception has a lot to do with it. You're used to seeing your nose a certain way for so many years, and then all of a sudden it changes. So the result at first may look a little exaggerated to your mind, but once it all settles and you get used to it, it's completely an amazing result. And I'll give you an example. Like for me, because before I had a droopy tip, it actually like came down. When they lifted it, in my brain it looked piggy, even though you guys can see it now, it doesn't. It's not piggy at all whatsoever. But in my brain, just because I was so used to that droopiness, you know, it looked overly lifted, but it's not. It's just a matter of perception, a matter of getting used to it, and just waiting. It's a waiting game for the results to come in. So I also went back to Dr. Kosins' office, and I wanted to talk to Judy, because talking to her during like my emotional time really helped me so much. So I asked her if she would be willing to share a little bit of her advice for those of you that maybe don't have that support system from your doctor's office. Maybe, you know, Judy can help you guys like she helped me. So I'll go ahead and play that for you guys now. I just want to ask you, because you've been seeing a lot of patients that experience the same thing.
Yes.
So what advice do you have for us?
Well, first of all, I've been doing this for 11 years, and 10 years of it was exclusively to rhinoplasties. And just like Brenda, a lot of young girls that come in and they're super excited. But obviously having surgery, you know, you do get the post-surgery blues, and no one's exempt from it, but you know, it's about how you know, kind of deal with it. And some of my tips that I give, like throughout the years that I've seen patients, how they cope with it is, number one, because there's so many changes going on, I always say, do not obsess in front of the mirror. I always tell patients the mirror is your enemy, and you got to tell yourself, don't look there, because you're not going to be happy. There's so much swelling going on, and at that stage it's just not pleasant. So make a conscious effort, stay away from the mirror. Number two, keep yourself busy, because only time is going to bring that swelling down. Granted, you could tape and, you know, take it easy and all that stuff, but ultimately time is the only thing that's going to bring that swelling down. And then the swelling is what is causing your blues, right? So keep yourself busy, you know, do your normal, you know, daily, you know, activities, work, you know, chores, whatnot. And then lastly, you call the office, and the staff here, we're like counselors, we're like therapists. And so you want to call and get reassurance that, number one, that it is a phase, it's going to pass, and you need somebody to, you know, give you reassurance that everything is going to be okay. And that's really the only thing that you can do. But definitely talking and just, you know, like letting your frustrations, whether you need to cry and just vent or whatever it is, do it. Because just like Brenda, she just needed encouragement and support and reassurance. And that's why we're here, because we've been there, done it, seen it, heard it all. I mean, seriously, in the 11 years, I like heard it all and seen it all. And so there's nothing that surprises me. But I do know for one thing, it is temporary and it does pass. And so it's just all about, you know, kind of toughing it out and just being patient. But, you know, it will happen. She's amazing. And as you can see, she got amazing results. And, you know, attitude is very important too. You always want to remain positive, and just know that in the beginning, it's not the end result. It is temporary. And your nose goes through a lot of changes, and it does take one full year. And so during that time, you have to just, you know, kind of be patient and go about your business and keep yourself busy, because the results will come. And one day you're going to look in the mirror and say, oh my God, I absolutely love the results,
exactly.
like Brenda.
Exactly.
So
everything that Judy said in that clip is literally what she told me. And I just want to say thank you so much to Judy, because she was an amazing support system during that time for me. Dr. Kosins, of course, because he is amazing at what he does and he gave me a great result. And just his whole office staff is really kind and really amazing, and they really understand what you go through when you get surgeries. I hope you guys find your support system. Recruit a family member, recruit a friend, recruit your surgeon, just somebody that can be there for you and talk you down when you're freaking yourself out. And that's really the most important thing. Build a support system and just be patient. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. Like always, leave your comments and questions down below and I'll get back to you. With that being said, remember that wherever you go and whatever you do, always leave your mark.